Okay, listen. In my defense, hear me out. My semester ended, right? I had to literally take down my entire room with my boyfriend. He did help me do it, so that's like, a plus. I had to take down my entire room. Then I had to drive from New York back to Michigan, and then my boyfriend was here with me in Michigan, and I was showing him around. I've not been organized. That's true. That's my fault. It's very, very much my fault. I literally, the week that we were packing up and leaving, I was like, I have one video that I can just put in queue and edit and post. It was the last video, this one right here. And I really sat there and I was like, I'll make another video like later on this week. Later on that week, what was I doing? Taking my boyfriend to the airport, a sobbing mess. So, no, it did not work out the way it was supposed to work out. But I'm back and I'm here and it's okay. Everyone can live. It'll be great. Before we get started, I have realized y'all do be liking my shorts. Y'all like my TikToks. Why don't you go follow my TikTok? I'm serious though. Like, go follow my TikTok. It's fun over there. I have a lot more stuff over there. I have more mythology stuff over there, and I have history stuff. I love mythology, but I love this history. Ooh, girl. Once you take away the fact that they're like, people who aren't even from this period of time, are from 400 fucking years ago and are like old people. Once you take that away and look at it as like two random ass like wrinkly old people arguing in front of you, it makes it so funny, first of all, but then it also makes it a lot easier to remember. Humorify. That's a word, right? I don't know. Humorify that shit, and it makes it a lot easier to like ingest, if that makes sense. I also have made a Instagram strictly dickly for this like channel. It's different from my main account, but my main account is there. So if you want to follow both, feel free. I'm gonna link it in the description, but I'm also gonna put it right here. So just like, give me a little follow. So today we are going to be talking about everyone's favorite black choir, the Muses. And I say black choir because when you ask people, like the average person, what do you know about the Muses? Do you like the Muses? The first thing that comes into mind is not all like, 9 of them? No, what comes to mind is the 5 black ladies from Hercules. For some people, that movie is the only speck of mythology they'll ever come across, so it's like, it makes sense. Let me just start this off by saying, the way that these women were conceived and birthed is really weird. I know a lot of stuff that goes down in ancient mythology times is weird already, but this is properly weird. So the mother of these women was the Titaness of memory, Mnemosyne, and the father, interestingly enough, is Zeus. Luckily though, and unlike most myths involving Zeus and his sexual conquests, this union between him and the Titaness was actually a consensual union. But the lens that I'm looking at it through, like, consensual, perhaps, right? Let's wish upon a star. But I'm thinking about power dynamics. Yes, you are a Titaness. Cool. Zeus is looking at the gods. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that's the case, but that's just where my mind is going. And this is where I say, it's not surprising that he's the father. So it's not like this Titaness was like a one-night stand, or even not even a one-night stand, just like a side chick. Like, no. He deliberately slept with her for 9 nights in a row, right? And she became pregnant with 9 daughters. Right. What is that even called? Nonuplets? Like, what? I know. You're crazy. But interestingly enough, with her being the Titaness of memory, memory holds key to a lot of things. Without memory, there's no way to talk about an old language or learn a new language, or sing an old song, or sing a new song, or learn something new, or learn something old. It's just silent and unmoving. So all the daughters she had, these 9 women, they were the physical embodiment of the arts and the sciences. Let's talk about who these hoes were. So first up, we got my girl Calliope, right? So she's the muse of epic poetry. Now, epic poetry, if you don't know what that is, it's totally cool. Epic poetry is literally just when old poets write like action stories. When you talk about her being the muse of epic poetry, you would look at somebody like Homer. He who wrote the Iliad, he who wrote the Odyssey, those really like heavy action-packed like books. like it's epic poetry. So, you know, like an epic story. It's like, oh my god, it's fun. There's so much stuff happening. This is so cool. That's her. She's often seen carrying around like a writing tablet or like a stylus. If you ever seen Baddies, I think it was Baddies Caribbean or something like that. When Sapphire's walking around with that big old notebook just taking stuff down, that's basically her. Next we have Cleo. And this is the one that I resonate with so bad. She is the muse of history. She's often depicted holding scrolls and books that possibly detail all the events of the past. What she does as a muse is she reminds mankind and reminds chroniclers to remind everybody else of the past and to learn from it. Next we have, well, I'm only going to assume is going to be Apollo's favorite, Erato. Now she is the muse of love poetry and is often showcased with either a lyre, Mr. Apollo, or just the crown of roses. So when you look at all those old Greek poets who only write about sex, and trust me,
there's a lot. There's too much.
Think about the fact that those poets were inspired by Erato. They think of her and they write down what they're thinking about, and she comes in as like a little
Holy Ghost moment, you know?
And infuses erotic poems with passion. So when you read it, you can feel it. You know, you can really like
feel it.
Next we have Euterpe. She is just the muse of music in general, and she's mostly depicted with a flute in her hand. My dad played the flute. I was gonna play the flute, but it sounded really boring. And also, I didn't think I could be good at it. And honestly, the way I turned out cosmetically, instruments just weren't for me. So she brings rhythm and melody to one's soul. You know, maybe this was the muse that was in, what's his name? Ryan Coogler's head making Sinners. You seen Sinners yet? You should go see Sinners. If you don't even want to go see it, it's on Amazon Prime. You wouldn't even want to go nowhere. Next, we have my good sis, Melpomene. Now, this is unfortunately like one of the negative muses because they all can't be positive, you know? There's muses for everything, and this unfortunately is the muse of tragedy. She's often depicted with a tragic style mask, and if you don't know what that is, I'll put it right here. But during this time, though, they had like poets and they had screenplays and screenwriters and things like that. And so with this, you had comedy and you had tragedy, and the base distinction of it really is like a Greek tragedy was everybody died or folks died at the end of play, and a comedy was that no one died at the end of the play. Yeah, it was laughing mainly, but like the main gist, like no one died, which is kind of crazy because like, what do you mean? But she and her presence inspired the most dark and sorrowful tales that you can think of. Next we have Polyhymnia, the muse of sacred hymns and tradition. She's often depicted to be in deep thought or in a prayer pose. I'm just gonna assume it's like praise be, you know, blessed be the fruit. She really is the bridge between moral devotion and the divine itself, and she bridges that gap so that the prayers can be, you know, connected. So the bridge between that is her. Sister number 7 is Miss Terpsichore. As you can tell, that is my favorite one, just because of the way that the name is pronounced. Terpsichore. She is the muse of dance and is often showcased with a lyre and often in a dancing pose. She represents movement as music and art as motion. So Talia is very interesting to me. She's quite literally the opposite of Melpomene. She serves as the muse of comedy and idyllic poetry. While Melpomene holds the tragedy mask, Talia holds the comedy mask. She represents laughter, satire, and the enjoyment of a rustic life. So like appreciation that you don't have everything, but you're also like kind of chill about it. Last but not least, we have Urania, the muse of astronomy and philosophy. And when she is detailed, she is shown as pointing to the stars with a globe in her hand. So as you can see, these were very talented sisters. They were individual in their own kind of way, but when put all together as one, it was something special. It was the basis of culture that it was to be a person in ancient Greece, which is fucking cool. But just like any other bitch living her best life, there's always going to be a bitter bitch out there watching you, saying they don't like you, but they still watching you. And that happened. And guess what? It was 9 other mortal sister bitches talking shit. So these 9 sisters were the daughters of King Pyrrhus of Thessaly, okay? They were so confident because they were also 9 women who were also 9 sisters who could also get down with the arts and sciences. And so they took it upon themselves to compare themselves to the muses and call out to them directly, talking about some run up. Each sister matched herself to a, I guess, corresponding muse and boasted that could outperform the divine in their own like reason for existing. The Muses agreed, but they also said, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll go against you, but we're gonna be the judges for it though. And maybe they just, you know, were too wrapped up in their own arrogance and didn't understand that or hear that. Because if I'm trying to go up against a god on something and they say I'll do it, but I'm gonna judge it on who wins, I'm sorry I ever said anything, sir, because that's not gonna be fair. They're obviously gonna say that they're gonna win, and I'm gonna be like, I don't even know, like a speck of dirt on the ground. As I just stated before, they went up against each other and the Muses won. And as always, when you go up against a god and you lose, they have to punish you for ever thinking you could beat them. I am that bitch. Don't ever try me ever again in your life. So each of the Muses turned each of the sisters into magpies. You know what magpies are? Yeah. Yeah. I think it's really cool how they like represent like the soft things in life, sort of, kind of, but also they'll beat your ass if need be, which is a good dual personality thing, whatever the fuck, to have. What do you think? I think that if I were to be the muse of something, I was gonna say the muse of cheesecake, but that don't really make any sense. I do like cheesecake. I can be the muse of plushies. I got a fuck ton of plushies. I'm gonna be that because what I think I could be, I probably can't even say this on a YouTube channel. So I'm not even gonna even try that. I am the muse of plushies. What do you think y'all would be the muse of? I wanna hear. What do you think that you would be the muse of if you were the muse of anything in the world? What would it be? That is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I am so sorry you've not seen me for like 2 weeks. That will be changed. All will be well. It's okay. It's okay. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and do not forget to follow me on Instagram. Mwah.